Hey guys, we're back. I'm Tucker Schroeder, and I want to know why the WNBA has not gotten the respect it deserves.
Hey, I'm Chris Anthony, and I want to know, is Bryce Harper on track to being the most underachieving player in MLB history? And this is the CTE Sports Podcast.
Oof.
How's everybody doing today?
What's up?
I'm Chris Anthony. You can find me on Twitter at C_Anthony says.
What's going on? Back here again. Tucker Schroeder at TikTok-Tucker15.
And we're missing a couple people today, Tuck.
Yeah, we're missing both Dalton and Ethan. Show goes on.
Should we elaborate on it?
I mean, we can, yeah.
I mean, he's gone missing, or?
He's gone missing. Dalton has his own different issues going on.
I got 99 problems. But if you find Ethan, we have a tip line.
Yeah.
A hot line. It's 1-855 find Ethan.
Find Ethan, please.
So if you can find him, just give us a call and we'll be able to track him down.
Yeah, if he's listening to this, maybe give us a call. For sure.
But this is the CTE Sports Podcast.
Yes, sir.
Episode 4.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of good stuff for you today.
Yep.
We talked to Austin Scott, QB of the EKU Colonels.
Oh yeah.
And I guess we'll just start with our burning questions.
Yeah, I obviously I was talking about the WNBA, not something we've scratched at all on the podcast, and it's something that's kind of, I think it's been in the news a little bit more, and because people like was it Damian Lillard, right? Or no,
yeah.
was it Damian Lillard?
Mm-hmm.
He had the interview talking about how it deserves more respect, and different rappers and this and that come out and saying, and if you really look at it, I mean, I can't help but agree. I mean, they play really good basketball. I mean, I'll be the first one to say that I don't go out and watch the WNBA per se, but I can definitely respect the grind that they go through, and they're definitely good. It's definitely a good league. I mean, I just don't see why they don't get as much.
I feel like you're tiptoeing here, Tuck.
Why?
Because you're saying, why hasn't the WNBA gotten the respect it deserves?
I mean, there's definitely no comparison to the NBA. Like,
none?
I mean, there is. It's basketball, but like, it's not as exciting as the NBA, to be honest with you, but it's still not like it's not a bad league or anything. Like, I don't know.
You remind me of one of those guys on Twitter that'll go on the threads. Whenever they see a woman playing basketball, they'll be like,
no, I love women's sports. I think it's great. But like, I don't know. I feel like with all this stuff with the WNBA out there, and then the one girl last night, did you see that? She broke the WNBA points record. It was like 54.
Diana Taurasi.
Yeah.
Like
that's impressive.
She's a baller.
That's impressive. Like,
yeah.
And I just think it should be a little bit, more public, and, maybe I'm part of the problem because I'm tiptoeing around it a little bit, but still, maybe,
I mean, the fact of the matter is people aren't willing to give the WNBA the credit it deserves.
Yeah.
Whether it's going to watch games or going on Twitter just to bash them.
Yeah.
And people, I don't know. To me, Twitter runs like a middle school sometimes. Like, the popular kids will get all the retweets and stuff, and then the people that actually have points and make sense, they rarely get heard.
Yeah.
So I don't like the bashing, and it's not the same old game like it used to be in the early 2000s.
You're right.
People would miss layups all the time. It was sloppy basketball, if we're going to be honest, how it was back in the day. But it's gotten more entertaining. It's more watchable, I would say.
I would say so. The games that I watched, they're not. Yeah. I mean, they're not.
The summer's been good.
I think it really boils down to like social media, and that it's crazy how it can control what people think about it without really diving into like the details of it.
My problem is that people just won't give it a chance.
Exactly.
Just watch one game, watch a playoff game, and see how it goes.
People don't give it a chance because they just see what they see on Twitter, and it's like, okay, then I don't gotta watch anything else.
The part that boggles my mind is that people want to give more street cred to college women's basketball than they will to the WNBA.
Yeah,
they'd rather give props to the UConn Huskies rather than who won last season, the Minnesota Lynx.
Yeah, like it doesn't make
sense.
What's
the difference?
It should be the other way around, really.
Yeah.
Which I will say this though, I personally like the college game for men's way better than professional.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how I've always. But that's not to say that obviously I give the respect to the NBA. I love the NBA. I love watching basketball.
And I think they just have just as many credible stars as the NBA if you really look at it.
Yeah.
You have people like Diana Taurasi who set that record.
Exactly.
Maya Moore who won MVP. Candace Parker's been killing it. Sue
Candace
Bird.
Parker's good.
Brittany Griner. Skylar Diggins. I mean, you can just go keep
There's
going.
Huge names on there.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's frustrating, and I'm not going to sit here because I kind of sound a little hypocritical because I definitely don't watch it myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I should maybe a little bit more, but for the most part, I don't, and I'm not gonna lie about it. But I just feel like they definitely deserve more respect.
Yeah.
So
I'm just glad that we're having this conversation because I feel like the tides are starting to shift.
Yeah. No. That's why I wanted to bring it up because I can definitely feel maybe some more the more. I'm not gonna say awareness. I feel like that's not a good word, but maybe. I guess just respect because I feel like it's pretty much disrespected at this point. Okay, I need to hear this about Bryce Harper.
All right. So if you didn't know by now, Bryce Harper won the home run derby on Tuesday in Washington. His team for now.
Yeah.
With the Nationals.
And
beating out Kyle Schwarber in the finals. And he's done a lot in his short career. 7 years.
Yeah.
6 All-Star appearances. Rookie of the Year. He won MVP. But people have naturally overreacted to his home run derby championship. And to him winning and saying he should be getting a huge contract this year and be able to stay in Washington and live a great rest of his career in DC.
Yeah, for sure.
But I don't think that's the case.
I mean, look at it. You just got to look at the stats, the facts too. I mean,
yeah, he's hitting terrible this year.
Like, look at his average this year. What is it? 200 something?
Yeah, it's below 210.
Like that's. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, he's a good player and he can hit the ball when he's on, but he's streaky as all get out.
Yeah, and when you look at his postseason career too, the numbers are not good.
Yeah.
They've only made the postseason 3 times.
Yeah.
And never made it out of the division series.
Yeah.
That's the first round in baseball. So underperforming in the playoffs is big, and maybe a reason why Bryce Harper isn't worth such a big contract coming up this offseason.
Honestly, the playoff point, I think that might be the biggest point, is because in a sports world that we live in nowadays, where I mean the regular season is obviously important. Nothing scratches playoffs for any sport. I mean, it's playoffs or die really in professional sports. I feel like.
And you're the face of a franchise, and they give you the pieces around to make it work, and it still doesn't work. There's a problem there. And for 7 seasons, they've been working out the kinks. They've been trying to figure out what the problem is. I think it might just be him.
Do you think they just turn a blind eye because it's Bryce Harper? He has good hair,
and he has star power.
Like people gravitate to him because he has good hair. He's a good looking dude. I mean, when he is hitting the ball well, he hits the ball really well. But I mean, other than that, you think Washington just turns a blind eye? And
oh, of course, because I mean,
maybe they're a little starstruck.
I think in DC, when you look at what goes on in the sports world in DC, there isn't a lot of great going on. I know the Capitals just won, but they've been having hiccups for the last decade or so with Ovechkin. The same has been going on for the Redskins. And then
not to mention the NBA team, John Wall. He's a great player, but they can't get past the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah. And this season they had a lot of turmoil because Bradley Beal was acting like the face of the franchise and kind of wanted Wall gone. So when you look at Bryce Harper, that was the best that was going on for Washington. For sure. I would understand how you would want to keep him around.
Yeah, no doubt.
But what I'm saying is it might be time to move on. And then looking at the hype that was supposed to be when Bryce Harper got here in like 2010, he was supposed to be like the next Mickey Mantle.
You're right. You are right about that. I remember when he did come into the league, it was just huge, and it was kind of if you don't recognize how big of the hype was. I mean, kind of when Chris Bryant came into the league, how he was this crazy good
I would
prospect.
say it was bigger.
Oh, it was definitely bigger, but I'm just saying more relatable.
Oh, relative?
Because Chris Bryant is a little bit more recent. And that's something I remember a little bit more because I've gotten into baseball more as I've gotten older. But I definitely remember Bryce Harper, and it was, how could you not? I mean, it was just huge. But Chris Bryant coming up like this number one prospect, and then he performs that same year. It's kind of how Bryce Harper was. But I don't think, if you go back to the hype about how him being there, I don't think it's necessarily lived up to it. I think people are just turning a blind eye. And I'll even say I've turned a blind eye. Because, like,
he's been in his prime for 4 years now.
Yeah.
Only has one MVP to show for it. And the way the All-Star voting works, I mean, he has 6 All-Star appearances, but that's fan voting.
Exactly.
That's obviously not peers. They've gone through 3 managers.
Yeah.
They've worked on getting more pieces. They got Gio Gonzalez. Strasburg came up with him. They got Max Scherzer, a Cy Young Award winner.
Yeah.
And they still can't get out of the first round. It makes you think.
Does he have any series wins?
No, I don't think so.
I can't remember any of them that they've won.
And if I'm the Nationals, I probably walk away.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I need to look up the standings real quick just to see where they're at. Because when you look at it, if they're out of the hunt, why not just get rid of them?
Get rid of them now.
Yeah. I bet you could get a heck of a package for them.
Think about the outrage that would...
They're sitting right at 500, 48 and 48 behind the Braves and the Phillies. I mean, they're not out of it. They're 5.5 back.
Yeah, definitely not out of it, but still.
I just think there's too many good teams in the NL for them to probably compete. We'll move on to the roundup. And our first story is Kawhi Leonard. He got traded. He got traded to the Toronto Raptors with Danny Green for a first-round pick, DeMar DeRozan, and
what's the dude's last name?
Jacob Polotki
or something?
Yeah, something like that. He's
Pelosi?
a center.
Yeah.
Tucker, what's your reaction?
Honestly, I don't know. It kind of just seems like something that was forced. I mean, obviously, it seems like the Spurs were kind of just fed up with Kawhi at this point, and they just made a move. And Spurs got DeRozan, obviously a great player, great shooter. We'll have to see the dynamic of that because I feel like the Spurs is a very team-based organization, and I feel like DeRozan is a very player like himself, kind of, if that makes sense. Like, the offense runs through DeRozan.
Okay, yeah.
Whereas the Spurs, it's dispersed evenly. So I'll have to see how that works.
I read something where it said the Spurs culture died along when Tim Duncan retired, which I could see that happening. I mean, look at the remaining pieces. It's just Popovich and Manu Ginobili. But everybody's saying San Antonio won the deal because they got rid of Kawhi.
I don't see that.
I don't see it either because
I think if Kawhi would have stayed, I think he would have definitely been fine. I mean, I don't see what. I mean, obviously the issues last year and him not playing and stuff, but I think, if they would have gave him the right contract and the right deal, I think he would have been fine in San Antonio.
I think it was just proof that the Spurs were getting lowballed all offseason on trade offers. If the best that they could come up with was a first-rounder and DeMar DeRozan, which, no offense to DeMar DeRozan, I think he's one of the 30 best players in the league.
Easy.
But when it comes to playoff time, he's not there.
No.
He's not a main guy.
This past year, they had everything they needed to do to go up against a lackluster. Honestly, though, the lackluster Cavs team that had LeBron.
It took them 7 to beat Indianapolis.
Yeah, and then exactly, and then you go and you play Cavaliers, which all they have is LeBron. Which obviously LeBron, he's great, but that whole entire team as a collective unit, I thought the Raptors were better, and then DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, they all underperformed. They didn't
fell apart. Yeah. Like that's putting it kindly, Tucker.
Bad. He's a great player, great shooter. I mean, you can't say he's not a great shooter because he is, but he didn't bring his A game in any of the playoffs that I've seen him in. So
I don't know. I think it's time for San Antonio to probably blow it up
and rebuild.
Yeah,
might as well.
I mean, who else?
What else is there to hang on to now?
Like, I just looked at Danny Green's contract. I can understand why San Antonio got rid of him now. He only had 1 year left.
Still, though,
that's cap room.
Yeah.
So, like, that's what makes me think, like, oh, they're going to blow this whole thing up.
Yeah.
Like, you have Patty Mills.
Patty Mills, the Australian sensation.
Yeah, I mean, is there anybody else there worth saving? Marco Bellinelli?
Is that really worth saving?
No, I mean, there's nobody else.
Yeah. I don't know.
And you could tell DeMar DeRozan is disgruntled.
Yeah. I mean, you could tell. I think both of them are disgruntled. I think both parties. I don't know. I don't know how Kawhi is going to react. I know you have your opinion on how he's going to react.
Yeah.
But personally, I don't know how he's going to play. I think they're both good enough to players no matter where they are. I think they can get their points and make their impact.
Yeah.
But what's the point I just don't see the point for, obviously they didn't have a say, but the Spurs, DeRozan's going to come to a team that's not very, I don't know. Like, they just don't seem like, it's not the same old Spurs. It's not what you think it would be.
We forgot about LaMarcus Aldridge.
Yeah.
He's a big piece of that.
True.
But I don't see it. I don't see how they can keep being 7 and 8 seeds in the playoffs like they were in this past year.
Yeah.
And keep coexisting. We'll move on.
Yep.
Le'Veon Bell, him and the Steelers tried to negotiate on a new deal after he got franchise tagged for this upcoming year.
Uh-huh.
It was 5 years, $70 million. He declined it. Everybody's shocked. Said it went crazy on Twitter.
Yeah,
with people on both
crazy
sides.
on Twitter.
Tucker, do you think this was a good move by Le'Veon Bell?
Personally, I think so, because if you look at the details of the contract, he was only fully guaranteed $10 million, and for the top running back in the league right now, I feel like that's almost like a slap in the face, because if you're the Steelers, he's debatably the best offensive player in the league. I mean, you can the most dependable. You can go between Todd Gurley and him. I would rather have Le'Veon Bell because he's more of a threat, passing the ball also.
Yeah.
But I just feel like you could have guaranteed him at least 40. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like it was the right move for Le'Veon Bell, and especially if he has a good year this year, he's going to get his money.
Yeah, it's going to get spiked up to $100 million maybe.
He's going to get his money. So if you're looking at it from a money aspect, I definitely think the loser was the Steelers. I think they could have done more.
Yeah, it's straight up disrespectful.
Yeah, I agree.
Look what he's done for you in 4 years of playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you'll see him with probably the second best receiver on the team next to Antonio Brown, and the best running back in the NFL.
Yeah.
So I don't see how you can only offer him $10 million guaranteed and say, "Oh, that's a good." I don't see how you can let that go to his agent and not have any second thoughts about it.
Because let's be honest though, if you look at the Steelers' offense, there's obviously Big Ben, there's obviously Antonio Brown.
Yep.
They're both great.
Yeah.
But when the Steelers ever got in a pinch, they just handed the ball off to Le'Veon Bell, and that opened up the offense.
Yeah.
And that's what opened up Antonio Brown and Big Ben.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel like they kind of overlooked him, maybe because of maybe an ego thing. They thought he had an ego. That's not what they want for the franchise. But for me, that's just not smart.
And their defense is oh, he's old. What?
He's not old.
He's not old at all. I mean, in running back years, yeah, he's not as fresh as he could be.
But he's definitely, I would say he's in his prime. I mean,
he's excelling right now.
He's on the up. And this last year was he's a stud.
And if you were worried about that, why offer 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
Go lower and more guaranteed. I don't see how that's an issue.
Yeah.
So now you just I'm going to say it. You let your best position player go.
Yeah. No, I agree. Because Antonio Brown would be this is a personal opinion, and I know people will disagree with me, but I don't think Antonio Brown was anything without Le'Veon Bell. Mm-hmm. And it's more of an indirect thing because people would be like, oh, how is he? Well, like I said, if the offense was ever in a pickle and they couldn't throw the ball, they would hand it to Le'Veon Bell. They would get 10 yards. Then the defense opens up, and then
that Steelers O-line was banged up too, and he still produced every single game.
Exactly.
I'm just what do you think is going to happen next?
I think this year is going to be an interesting year for him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think he'll play, and I think that the Steelers will still have a good offense, and I don't think he'll play as much. I don't see why they would play him as much, but he'll still play. He probably won't be as productive.
So, yeah, I think they do well. I think Le'Veon does well. I think they make the best out of things this season, but he's going to be moving on, and they have to accept it at the same time.
I mean, I don't know how they're going to – someone's going to pay him his money.
Yeah, I feel like this is really similar to the Kirk Cousins situation.
Yeah, I agree.
And ultimately, they traded him. Mm-hmm. So
I've never looked at it like that, but that's definitely a good comparison.
They didn't trade him; they let him go.
They just let him go.
Yeah, which is, and he got franchise tagged like 3 times in a row. Mm-hmm. Thinking if he kept doing better, he was going to get money, but
yeah, for sure,
doesn't always work that way.
Yep.
All right, we're moving on to soccer talk.
So World Cup ended not too long ago. France ended up winning the World Cup against Croatia. It was a really great World Cup. France kind of dominated that whole entire game. They beat them 4-2. And, I going into it, I had a feeling that France was going to kind of dominate the game. This was their year. They had all the stars to do it. And, I think France was definitely the best team in the tournament. But no scratch to Croatia. I mean, they were to get there on 3 straight games, having to go to extra time and penalties. Not against England. England, they just went to extra time, no penalties. But I just think they were just a gassed out team, and France kind of just had the stars to do it. And
so France is really young though, so they have a shot to repeat next year. Right?
Oh, well, in 4 years, but for sure. Well, their next big, competition as a team will be the Euros, which that's through UEFA. That's not through FIFA, but they do the best team in Europe. So that will be in 2 years. They play that every 2 or 3 years. I forget exactly, but so that will be soon. That will be their next international competition, and they're going to be the favorites for that too.
Nice.
So they got a lot of young talent. They're studs, and France won it. Really, no surprise there. So,
do you think the U.S. would have been there?
No, not a chance. Not a chance.
I had to.
It's unfortunate, but
we'll move on. The MLB All-Star Game. The American League won for I want to say the 6th straight year.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and 10
pretty good
innings.
game though.
Yeah, it was 6-5 or something like that.
Yeah, pretty decent game. A lot of home runs.
11, I think.
Yeah.
So a lot of solo shots.
Yeah. Off of good pitchers.
I would say a lot of crazy things happened during the game.
Yeah.
On the field and off.
Yeah, it was interesting.
If you saw on Twitter, Josh Hader.
Yeah, I saw that.
His Twitter kind of blew up for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Sent out a tweet that said "White Power, LOL," and a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then Manny Machado.
That was probably the biggest thing that I saw. That was kind of crazy.
The Machado thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. He got traded to the Dodgers mid-game. I kind of wanted to see him trade sides, make him.
That would have been really cool.
Yeah, that would have been sweet.
But I don't know how that would have worked. So and then he took the selfie with the Dodgers player, and
Matt Kemp.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah. So what do you think was the craziest thing that happened at the All-Star Game?
In game, I would probably say the most interesting thing was definitely Machado being traded.
Okay.
Because you don't normally catch stuff like that. Where I've seen a couple of things on YouTube where players will get traded in game and stuff like that. But that was kind of almost like an upbeat type of thing. He got traded and then he was happy about it and taking selfies and stuff.
Yeah, Orioles are terrible right now. So.
And so it was he was kind of happy to go to a good team, and I guess I'm happy for him because I definitely think that the Dodgers have a shot to go back. So
yeah. But with that Josh Hader thing, he kind of got hit with the Dante DiVincenzo effect.
Yeah.
Of just not deleting stupid tweets from when he was a teenager.
Yeah.
And did you see his punishment? He has to go to some kind of class now.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not see that.
Yeah, that's his punishment from MLB. He doesn't get fined or suspended, but he has to go to a special class now.
That is funny.
Yeah, especially since nobody really knew who he was going into the game for the Brewers. So next year it's going to be in Cleveland.
Oh, yeah. Big time. You're going. You've already told me that you're going regardless.
Yeah, regardless of what happens, I'm going to the MLB All-Star game. Mm-hmm. Grew up wanting to go as a kid.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's exciting, honestly.
Yeah, I can't wait, to be honest with you.
No doubt.
Hopefully we get to see some Indians in there. So we had a guest on this episode. We actually just got done finished interviewing him, Austin Scott.
Yep.
We talked about his crazy high school career, which he was like a stat magnet.
Yeah, for sure.
He set a record at his high school for 9.
That's what we opened up with. You guys will hear that, and it was pretty impressive to say the least.
Yeah. So here's Austin Scott. Guys, welcome back to the podcast. We're here with our guest, QB for the EKU Colonels, Austin Scott.
Austin Scott. Hello.
How you doing, man?
How are you?
I'm doing well, guys. Appreciate you having me on the show.
Dude, thanks for coming on.
This is great, man.
I'm happy to have you here. Now we have Adam, Tom, now we have Austin. Pretty good little trifecta there.
Yeah.
So
three different states.
So where are you from?
I'm from Spartanburg, South Carolina. So
Okay.
About 4.5 hours from here.
Okay.
Eastern.
So you had a pretty prolific high school career.
I'd say that.
You were Gatorade Player of the Year your senior year. You tallied up a lot of stats. You actually tied the state record for passing touchdowns at the game.
Yes, I did.
9.
Yeah.
Who's that against? You might as well just put him on blast.
I guess to make it kind of like an interesting story. So it was a high school that my dad went to. He was in high school, so they weren't very good. Of course, 9 was the record. That was only through 3 quarters, and we just said, heck with it.
You did it in 3 quarters.
3 quarters. Yeah.
Wow.
So like your dad was the coach, right?
My dad was the offense coordinator.
Okay, so was he just like, all right, you got the green light, just like throttle it, like just throw it all over the place, or like?
Well, our instinct going every game is just, score getting off the bus.
For sure.
We had 14 points, I felt like, when we got off the bus. And at halftime, we didn't pay much attention to it. I think we had like 5 or 6 touchdowns by then. And, so we just never let up. That's what we preach here at EKU, just finish. So that's how we approached it. And I think by the time it was like 70 or something to 30 or something.
Ridiculous.
Like that. We were just like, it was, we had the region title right then, so we were trying to focus on getting ready for the playoffs, so we just didn't want to, we wanted to let all the backups play.
That just makes it way more impressive now that it was just in 3
quarters. Yeah, I didn't realize that. Do you remember what the final was of that game?
The final stats, final score.
Final score.
I think we beat them. I think it was 76 to 30. 76 to 30. Something.
Oh, that's crazy.
But 9 touchdowns. That was then. And
that's crazy.
Yeah, all of our high school careers are over, but like it's still definitely cool to talk about. Like,
but to look back, like growing up in South Carolina, like who was your team? Was it Clemson or was it who did you like growing up?
Well, everybody gives me crap for it, but I'm an Alabama fan. Because my dad, he's a big Bear Bryant fan. He had family from Alabama. So I just always, I played Alabama beforehand and before all the success they have now. So now I say it to people and they think I'm just jumping on the bandwagon. But, and then if it's not Alabama and stuff, I like pulling for the SEC. The years that Florida had with Tebow, and I love watching those teams play.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I get what he's saying, though, because, like, every time I said I liked Florida when I was younger, people are like, oh, you just like them because they were good, but, like, it's always been in the family. I mean, obviously now, like, I'm not very, like, opinionated because I play for EKU, so it's, like, obviously they're, like, my main, team, but I still, I'm obviously, I was always still a Gator fan, so.
Like, when did you start playing football?
Well, I started playing tackle football at the age of 5. I was running back then. I played the youth league, and then we had a youth league through the high school that my dad coached at. I played through there. I've always played football since the age of 5. I always thought South Carolina was kind of, not respected as much as a football state. But I think we've, at least the last couple years and stuff that have stood out, and played teams from other states. My dad was at Burns High School, and we've played some Ohio teams, the Moeller and Centerville. We've played St. Thomas at Aquinas.
Yeah.
Dr. Phillips.
So you guys would go all over.
Yeah.
Wow.
Blades Central.
See, like Dr. Phillips, that's like big time, like where I'm from. Like that's like the top team in Orlando besides Apopka. That's where Ben. That's where Ben.
Apopka.
Yeah, that's where Ben.
The same year that that kid died.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Accident. We honored him because they came to us, but they honored the number 7 that he wore. So.
For sure. No, yeah, it's like DP, Dr. Phillips, like they're like one of the bigger teams in Orlando. And then obviously St. Thomas, everyone knows the St. Thomas. They're down south, but equally as big.
When you were there?
No, not when I was there. So my dad was at Burns, so that was in 2009. That was a number 1 versus number 2 in the country matchup. They had like DeMarcus Joyner, the running back that plays for the Bengals. What's it?
I don't know what is his name?
Bernard.
Bernard? Is it? No, it's something like that though.
Something like that. He was the running back then, but I knew they had like 12 or 13 Division I players then. There's 1 versus 2 in the country. ESPN game.
Yeah.
I played at FAU Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty wild experience. I mean, there's a lot of athletes on the field.
Nice.
That's crazy.
Nice.
Is that what your dad played in high school? Did he play college? Or?
He did. He played at Gardner-Webb University in North Carolina.
Was he He played quarterback?
He was a defensive back.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, what you find out about coaches that way is, they play the defense side of the ball.
Yeah.
And they turn out being great offensive coaches because they know so much.
You understand
about
it. Yeah, for sure.
Versa.
For sure.
So
that's awesome. Tucker, you can tell me.
So okay, so like I know how you were always like, because before this you were super nervous about like coming on about like stuff that we looked up.
We all had some.
I
didn't know.
And I did a little bit of digging and I looked at Max Preps and like I was just looking at your football stuff. Then there's a tab for basketball. Okay, so I go on the basketball tab and it said your junior year you averaged 0.7 points per game. 0.7.
Yeah,
I mean, if I don't really. I was just curious, like if that was a typo or if that was true.
I mean, it was true. I just started on the basketball team. I had really good players. I went to a city school.
Yeah.
Only 2 white guys on the team.
For sure.
I was one of them. I mean, but I came in and I thought I always played good defense. I probably didn't score as much as I should. That's why it's like that. But
you were like Delly.
Yeah, I guess.
See, I always laugh at that because like I tried to play freshman basketball when I was a freshman and I was awful. Like I'm just terrible. Like I love basketball and everything, but I'm just terrible. Like I'm not good. Like that's why I do other things like golf. Like I'm not too bad at golf, so I play golf.
I wish I learned more about golf.
I wish I played more golf, but like the thing about golf is always during football. But like if golf was like a springtime sport, I would have played it for sure.
So you guys both have a big interest in golf. When did you actually pick that up?
Well, I picked it up my senior year in high school. That summer, getting ready to go to college, we did a bunch of football stuff with the training stuff we did every day. So that's a way to still be around my dad and playing golf and stuff. My grandparents live in Pinehurst, North Carolina.
Big time.
Yeah, big time golf area. I wish like Tucker said, I wish I knew about it earlier. But I've played since the last 3 years, something like that. And I enjoy it. I work at a golf course now, and I tuck and shell. Little spider up there.
Yeah,
and we'll hit it a few. We're not good.
By no means we're good. Like I've always played too. Like I played a lot when I was younger with my grandparents. They got me lessons, which is actually something that like a lot of people know. I did lessons. Like I did golfing lessons for like 6 years of my life. Like I would like go out the summers for like weeks and I would play golf. I was pretty good when I was younger, and then I took like high school. I didn't play like at all. Like I didn't play at any in high school because I was always so focused on football and like getting stronger and weightlifting and all that jazz. And then I get up to college and it's like when you're not doing football, like you still want to do something that's kind of, I feel like golf is kind of productive and it's fun. So like that's why I started playing it again. I go out with Austin and stuff.
Honestly, it seems relaxing whenever I see videos or anything.
I like it because there's always room for improvement. Like no matter how good you are, like you can always still like be better. If there's always something like you can play the same course 10 times and you'll never shoot the same score like ever, because there's just you can't replicate anything.
So this is a big question that I have. Since you're from South Carolina, like, where do you go to vacation? Because Myrtle Beach is right there. Do you go out of state or?
Well, every year I've gone to Hilton Head Island. It's about 4 hours from me. It's beautiful, well-managed harbor town. Been to Kiowa Island, love Charleston. I don't really go to Myrtle Beach that much. It's also known as Dirty Myrtle, but
I feel like it's more of a touristy spot.
It is, and it's kind of crazy. You get anybody and everybody there. Like the spring breaks or any type of breaks we get like that, I try to go out of the state. I've gone to Florida, I've gone on cruises, I've gone out of the country times. But like spring breaks, it's probably Florida. I've gone different places in Florida.
Yeah.
So I just know whenever I would go to Myrtle Beach and just like chill out with friends and stuff like that. And there was a couple times where I was like, man, this water is really dirty.
So like, it's just so weird to like hear about other people vacationing and like they either go to the coast and stuff. Like I only like really my family only vacations. We'll go to like the mountains and like that's like a vacation for us because the beach is like
from the beach.
The beach is like 30 minutes away. So it's like, you know, and when people like ask me like how the beach is and they're like, oh, you don't seem too excited about the beach. I'm like, I mean, it's okay. Like, it's not something I have to do anymore. Like, it's just kind of like.
I'd rather be at the lake personally.
Yeah, me too.
I enjoy being at the lake.
The beach is fun. Don't get me wrong, but it is what it is.
I mean, Ohio in February, you don't want to be there.
Yeah, I bet.
You'd rather go anywhere.
Or the winter we had this year, spring practice. We had the morning spring practice every morning was like 25 degrees.
Yeah.
Until like April 20th, mm-hmm. Like literally like a week before.
It wasn't cold, it was raining.
Exactly. Literally like a week before our spring game, it was still freezing, and it was just ridiculous. This winter was just nagging and stuff. But
so you put up a bunch of stats, like you were talking about your high school career. What was your recruiting process like?
Wild.
Yeah.
Just like anybody else's.
Yeah.
I always thought I had the numbers, and I'm a guy that thinks I can make any throw. I think I can go out there against anybody in the country and compete with them. I had a small offer my junior year, which was in-state. Didn't think much about it. I was always recruited by bigger schools, but I was always told I was too short. And it is what it is, but I didn't get an offer from here until the beginning of January from Coach Eller, because he just received the
when they came in.
Yeah, the next day he offered me, and I came up here. And you talk about winters; it was 2 feet of snow up here. 75 shut down on my way up here. Had to go to the back roads. It took 9 hours from Knoxville, which is a 2-hour drive.
2 hours, yeah.
To get up here. I came down probably between Old Dominion here and Southern Miss. I committed here. I was supposed to go to Southern Miss the next weekend. I decided not to go. The head coach left from Southern Miss. He's now the offensive coordinator at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, wow.
And I thought that was just icing on the cake when he left. Not that I didn't know I'd made the right decision. I thought it was even more suitable that
no doubt.
the right decision being here.
For sure.
I feel like that's a lot of people on our team, especially. It's like I know in my decision process when I ended up committing here, like it didn't seem like it was the right thing. Like a lot of people said like, oh, that's not like the right thing to do because like I'm from Florida and it was Kentucky, and I had offers that were much closer. I got an offer from a school that was Stetson. It was in Orlando, so like that would have made the most sense. And I don't know, it was just like when I came here, it was just like the right fit for me. And it's really what people say about recruiting. It's like you have to have the right fit. And this was like I had bigger offers, but like this was the fit that I liked. And it was just I think a lot of people that's one thing I like about this podcast. It kind of gives us the opportunity to like give people like the understanding like of like how everything actually goes down with like with our lives. Like there's so many misunderstandings about like college football and like how you get here and this and that.
I wish I knew somebody better that went through this experience. I mean, I'm the first Division I athlete in my family.
Exactly.
Granted, my dad was a coach, but he didn't know much about it. He's like, now that it's over with, he said,
so many things.
You hear so many things, and coaches telling you so many things, and what you have to do. You got to think about your family. You got to think about vacation. You got to think about coaching staff. You got to think about school, what you major in, all that stuff. And for me, I had to make that all in 1 month before signing there. And like you said, I think it's the right decision. I enjoy being here. But yeah, like you said about the podcast, I think it gives a good idea about, I'm your third person you've had on here, but I'm sure you've asked the same question about how people got here, and I'm sure it's all different stories. So I think it gives people a better understanding.
Yeah, and I think out of the 3 people that we've interviewed so far, I think me and Tucker both identify with you a little more because Adam went through the JUCO route, Tom went through the prep school route, right? And then we have you here. And I think
both out of high school. Like we were, like I'm not to say like obviously I love Adam and Tom, but like their routes were much different than ours.
Yeah.
And like us 3, we were fortunate enough to have the route where like out of high school we were more highly recruited. Yeah. So it's just like hearing about all the different spectrums and stuff like that. Like that's one of the things when we wanted to start this podcast. It was like we wanted to obviously we wanted to talk about sports, but like we also wanted to just talk about like us and like really truly like dive into like everything that we do, and like so it's all like we like having the big spectrum about everything. So
I mean, now you talk about having things together. So y'all are just now coming off your redshirt year.
Exactly.
And I had that redshirt year, and I don't know how it was for you guys. If y'all want to elaborate on it or not, what you thought about it. I thought it was tough. I mean, you talking about I played 3 straight years and never missing a game, and coming here and having to go through all the training, the 5:30 a.m. lifts, and I traveled every game. I think y'all did too.
Yeah.
And going out there and not being able to play, kind of sucked, and in a way you kind of wanted the season to be over with. But I thought it was a great learning curve for me. I learned a lot more about myself, a lot more about college football.
Yeah.
I don't know about y'all, if y'all want to elaborate on what y'all thought.
It's like when I look at my redshirt, when our coach told us that we were going to be redshirted, I initially was like pissed. Like I wasn't happy about it because like you said, you come from high school and I was playing and it's kind of like a lot of people say that it's kind of cliche, but like you were the top dog in high school and then now you come to a college and like obviously everyone's just as good as you. And everyone was the top dog, but like still like I was still, I'm still going to be a little salty about it.
Right.
But like as that season went on, I started to kind of embrace it, and I realized really quick like I got redshirted, but it was probably better I got redshirted because if I would have played, there was just some situations where I tried to put myself in that situation, and there's still situations now. Even me being older and being here for a year, it's like I've still it can be dazed, and I'm like, whoa, like this is crazy.
It's funny because you look back on it, and there were certain moments of games where we traveled to last year where offensive lineman went down, and me, you, and then Graham would look at each other and be like, oh, I'm not ready.
Like I was just like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like
please don't put me
I couldn't do like I don't know if I could go in there, but like obviously now like sitting out for a year, like I'm ready to go, like I want to play, but it's definitely a blessing to be able to have that experience. I think it gets overlooked a lot and stuff, but I'm definitely thankful for it now for sure. So
yeah, definitely. And I don't think people understand how much responsibility goes into pregame, like warming up and everything, especially as a QB trying to get everybody warmed up. I mean, when our redshirt year, I was most nervous during warming up, just being like, man, I hope I don't screw this up.
Yeah, like because like even I dressed and like I would still go out there and I would have to go run plays and stuff because at that point we're giving looks for the defense,
right?
Because they're bringing us out there, giving us looks, having bodies and stuff, and like Chris was saying, I just didn't want to run out there and do something wrong and then get MF'd out there at SEMO or something like that. So like, it was always kind of crazy like that. But like, I didn't realize how important like pregame was in college either. So it's like, it's huge.
You just see it on TV and you're like, just get to the game already. Like,
yeah.
You talk about, just from the practices. Everybody practices, but like that Friday, traveling or whatever it is, that Friday leading up to the game.
Everything leading up to the game is ridiculous.
It's how much it is. We meet nonstop. If we're not eating, then we're meeting. And vice versa. It's just like a crazy experience. Just trying to get out.
Everything to the minute is planned.
Exactly.
It's insane, dude.
It's timed, and you better be there on time.
Yeah.
Or else.
I don't even. Yeah. I don't want to get into it.
Earlier, you were talking about figuring everything out within the last month of your recruiting process, including your major. So what's your major right now at EKU?
My major now is financial planning. I just changed that at the end of this last spring semester. I was originally a construction management major, which I was a 3+2, which was allowing me to get my master's and bachelor's at the same time. I took a couple construction classes the fall semester. And I just told, fall and spring semester, I just told myself this. It just wasn't me. I just didn't feel it, and I enjoyed construction, and I enjoyed buildings and all that stuff. I just didn't think that was me then, and so I went the financial planning route. I wasn't sure which one I wanted to do. If I wanted to work big business and get paid a certain salary, or like this guy, I get to decide how much I make. Because he works by himself. It's him and another guy, and they have many clients. He has clients in 32 different states. So he makes a killing, and he determines how much he makes.
Because I feel like that's such a broad thing. Because every aspect of business nowadays you have to have a financial backbone and someone to plan everything out. So like regardless of where you go, I feel like that's a pretty decent option to have a major in.
That was his pitch to me, is when he's telling us that people now won't say that they need you, but they'll eventually need 6 days from now, 6 weeks from now, 6 months from now, 6 years from now. They're going to need you eventually.
Yeah.
And you're there, and it's all about the relationship with those people. And, that's the thing with me is I enjoy having relationships with people. I enjoy the relationship with you two guys, and that's the part I wanted to do with my job. I didn't want to sit behind a desk and have somebody else and just call somebody I didn't even know.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I wanted to have relationships with my customers. And I think that was the most important thing about it.
No doubt, yeah.
You can look at it from a football aspect, too. I can see it.
Yeah.
Just as a quarterback, you have to get to know everybody. You have to know what everybody's doing. Our starting QB last year, Tim Boyle, he's with the Green Bay Packers now. I know you guys are pretty much best friends.
Right.
How much did your guys' relationship help you as a QB?
Our relationship, I enjoyed it on the field as much as I did off the field. We were able to talk to each other on the field as we were off the field. We were always with each other. We would watch film together. But we'd also go out on Friday night together. And he taught me a lot because he was in his 5th year, so he's played college ball a while.
He's had quite the path too.
So. He had the path to get, and I think we're coming here with his 5th offense coordinator, his 5th head coach, and 5th strengths coach, something like that, something crazy. So he's been around the block, and he was my best friend, but I also wanted to learn so much from him. I talk to him every once in a while now, and he's very busy with the Packers, getting ready and mini camp and all of that. I think he's doing well. I think he has a chance to make. it.
I definitely hope so, for sure. But it's for people who don't understand about Tim Boyle, kind of how we know him. Tim Boyle is just a fantastic human being, amazing person. You could go up to him and he would give the time of day to anybody.
Right.
And it's I obviously I don't have as good a relationship as you do with him, but still I was just a redshirt freshman, and he would, I could talk to him. He knew my name, and he would take the time out of his day to talk to me. And it's like, okay, like he's a good guy. So I wanted the best to happen to him. So I can't wait to see how it goes with him at Packers mini camp and fall camp, because he's signed, and that's pretty cool to be under Aaron Rodgers and learn from that guy. That'd be pretty neat. I wonder how
He said watching that guy throw this, he said something he's never seen.
It's ridiculous
of how he throws the ball. I mean, just how quick it is.
Yeah,
it's just unreal. He said.
Yeah, no, that's definitely unreal for sure.
So, talking about NFL QBs, who do you think mirrors your game the best at the pro level?
Mirrors my game the best. My favorite, of course, is Tom Brady.
Yeah.
I try to be like him, but I also want to have that threat of running the ball too when we need to. So I never really thought about that, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, if I had to say, I probably consider myself kind of like an Alex Smith.
Okay.
I think he can do a lot. I think he's a guy that runs when he has to run. They're not going to draw it up and say, "Hey, Alex, run the ball."
Yeah.
It's just he runs when he has to run. He's got to do it to win games. So I mean, that's who I think I'm most like.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Austin. I really
Appreciate
appreciate
having me, guys.
That's it.
It's been awesome.
Good luck with the rest of it.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
All right, we're back. Thank you to Austin Scott again.
Yep.
So we're gonna open up with top five stadium foods.
I'm excited for this one.
So basically, a stadium food is basically something you would get at a baseball, football, basketball game.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't really go too specific.
Yeah, I just feel like, because I mean, it's kind of like if we would have went specific, I feel like we would have to go to every MLB ballpark, every basketball arena to know, but obviously I don't.
Which that would be kind of cool, but
which would be cool, which would be great.
We
but
just don't have the time or money.
So we kind of stayed broad and what we like at a baseball game or a football game that I can, especially just from my childhood, that I can remember. So that I know of.
For sure. I'll start.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you want to go back and forth, or do you want to go straight through?
Let's go back and forth.
All right. Well, there's only two of us, so we might as well make it interesting. Well. All right. Number 5, I had ice cream.
Ice cream, okay.
You want something sweet during the game. Even though the only detractor I had that I put it at 5 is that it melts, especially if it's hot out.
Yeah.
It's something you don't want to deal with. And I think of helmet in a helmet.
That's exactly right. The little helmet cups they give you.
Yeah.
That's just the one thing.
Turns into memorabilia.
Yeah, it's true. You can take it home with you. I'd always put them on my head and act like I did when I was
it's
younger.
sticky though.
No, I would clean it.
Oh, okay.
I would clean it, but I always did that. I remember, I'd put it on my head and I thought I was pretty cool. I actually left ice cream off my list because there was just other things that I liked more. Obviously, I love ice cream, but there was just other things I like. My number 5 is nachos, and now the reason I like nachos so much is because of just how many different ways you can get nachos, just depending on where you're at. Now, there's always the basic little plastic tray they give you, where the one side has the chips and the one side has the cheese on it. But you go to some nice MLB ballparks, and
it's all mixed in there.
I went to. We were talking about it. I went to Cincinnati not too long ago, and they had the little helmet nacho thing, and you get a full helmet full of nachos, and it's $16-17, but it's just layered nachos. Yeah, I thought it was worth it.
Yeah,
layered nachos, tri-colored chips,
for sure,
cheese, jalapeno, sour cream, the whole 9. It was delicious.
I feel out west they would be pretty good too.
Oh, I bet. I mean, I'm sure I
put some spices in there.
Yeah. So nachos, my number 5.
All right, number 4. Pretzels.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Easy tearaways.
Soft pretzels?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. That's really interesting.
Put in some dipping sauce, cheese. Why'd I say dipping sauce? Only cheese.
You don't do mustard?
Nah, not for pretzels.
We'll come back to pretzels.
But I just feel easy snack, especially if you want something a little salty.
Yeah. And then some of the gourmet parks, you can get little cinnamon sugar pretzels.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of pretzels. I love pretzels. You'll see. But my number 4, which is a little shocking, it's a little hot. You might have it lower.
Okay.
But for me, Just the basic old cheeseburger. That's my number 4.
Okay.
See, I like cheeseburgers, obviously, but I just feel like it's kind of plain Jane. Obviously, I can get a cheeseburger whenever, but my oldest memories of cheeseburgers is maybe not necessarily like professional or like college games. Is like high school and like when I was in Pop Warner and like Little League for games. Like I would play my game or like I would weigh in for a game.
Yeah.
And then like right after I'd get a concession stand cheeseburger.
Okay, let me ask you this real quick. When you were in youth league, did you have to weigh in every single game?
Yep.
What?
Pretty crazy, right?
So, like, my youth league, we didn't run it through anywhere. It was just for the area. And we just had to weigh in at the beginning of the season. That was your weight.
So, like, if you played Pee Wee, you would have to be 120 or under. And, like, you couldn't be under, like, 105 for Pee Wee. So, like, it was really weird.
So, there were a lot of kids that couldn't play then.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
My last year, when I was in 8th grade, I couldn't do Pop Warner because I was just I would have had to lose like 20 pounds.
That's terrible.
And like every years before that, I would lose weight to play, which I was.
So
I did it.
So you would get up to the scale really nervous.
Yeah, for sure. Like
so,
I do now.
True that.
Yeah.
But not like that. They just wouldn't let you play that game, or
yeah, like they would give you an opportunity to try to lose. Like so, like if you were like. Say the weight limit was 120 and you were 121, they would give you like 30 minutes and you could come back and try to re-weigh. But like if you were overweight, like you couldn't play.
Wow. I mean, to be honest, that just seems, I don't know. It seems unhealthy at an early age to be that obsessed with weight.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Bad characteristics like going through life.
It made that cheeseburger after every weigh-in a lot sweeter though. It really did.
I bet. All right, so I'm up, right?
Yeah,
My number 3.
Your number 3.
Peanuts and Cracker Jacks.
Okay. See,
I put them together because it's kind of when you're singing. I put it over ice cream because I kind of have a sweet tooth, so like, I chose a lot of sweet stuff. But it's easy to eat. If you're distracted too, like if you just are really hungry for something, but you're not too hungry, like you don't want a big cheeseburger.
Yeah. Just
pop in some peanuts.
Yeah.
That always works for me, and then. If you want to spice it up with some Cracker Jacks, put some peanuts in there as well. Okay. I think that it's a good opportunity.
For sure. So that's more of like a baseball.
Yeah.
That's a baseball thing.
Yeah. I was
my number 3 kind of goes back to me being like a Florida fan. Mm-hmm. I went to a lot of Gator games when I was younger, and Florida.
You don't say.
Florida was there. Now they're sponsored by Domino's, but they used to always be sponsored by Red Baron, which is a pizza company.
Okay.
And they would have like these little personal pan pizzas, and I would get one every single game. So my number 3 is pizza.
Okay.
That's just it's more nostalgic for me than anything else. Nowadays, if I go to a game, I really wouldn't get pizza. But back when I was younger, I would get a pizza every single game. I loved it. Just little personal pan pizzas, like they were just super thick, like huge thick pizzas, and they were so good.
I don't know. For some reason in my list, I try to stay away from like heavier, like super hot foods. I don't know. Maybe really? I just had like a bad experience as a kid. Like I would like get like a burger or like fries or something, and like I would want to eat it right away, and then I would be like, my mouth, it's burned.
Yeah, I got you.
Like I'd be like, I gotta wait a quarter now to eat this.
Yeah.
But my number 2, from piggybacking off your list, I went helmet nachos.
Oh.
Not just nachos, just helmet nachos.
The helmet nachos.
Has to be helmet nachos.
Okay. I don't discriminate against my nachos. I like all nachos.
I like it all mixed together. You can rumble it up a little bit. Add a little extra to it if you need to, like some mustard maybe. I don't know.
Mustard on the nachos, but not on your pretzel.
Just a little bit of mustard, not too much. Crazy. Just to add a little extra spice to it. But yeah, I think helmet nachos are amazing.
Yeah.
Multiple layers.
I agree. No, I definitely agree with you.
I mean, yeah, you need unlimited napkins.
Yeah, for sure.
You definitely can't multitask while eating the helmet nachos. I mean, you can watch, but you can't.
You gotta eat. I mean, you just gotta go. You can't let them get soggy on you. You gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta get after it.
Or you can bring a fork for after. You run out of chips. It's just meat and cheese.
Oh, it's so good.
I think that's great.
So good. So you kind of went off my list there for the nachos. I'm going off of your list now.
Oh, okay.
So my number 2 was actually the soft pretzel.
Ooh.
It's another thing that I had a lot when I was a kid.
Okay.
I've always loved soft pretzels, and now you like to do cheese, which is good, but I always loved, like, I think it was because my dad kind of put me on it. I would always do mustard, and like the big salt chunks that were are on pretzels. You know what I'm talking about? Like just the huge rock salt. Like I love that.
Wait, huge rock salt?
No, it's like the chunks of salt that are on.
Yeah,
like, they're like flakes of salt, but they're a little bit bigger and like coarse and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I love that. I just think it's so good. It tastes so good, and I devour soft pretzels. They're my favorite.
Yeah, I feel like
they're not my favorite, but they're my number 2.
I'd probably go I could get through 2 soft pretzels.
Easy.
But for my number 1, I could probably go through 6 or 7.
What is it?
Hot dogs with Bertman's Stadium Mustard from Cleveland. Cleveland only.
Oh, so this is just a Cleveland only. So it could be. You're not saying hot dogs. You're not just saying hot dogs, or you're saying this hot dogs with this mustard.
Oh, it would be hot dogs regardless. But if I had to pick my hot dog, I would put Bertman's Stadium Mustard on it, which is like a Northeast. All my Northeast Ohioans know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
It's like our producer Dalton talks about Wendy's Sauce'em Sauce. It's legend. He has no idea.
Yeah.
And everyone that I've had try it from not Northeast Ohio, they all hate it.
Really?
Yeah, they don't like the taste of it.
So what is it
it's an acquired taste?
What does it taste like? Like not mustard or Mike mustard or what?
Okay, so it's like spicy mustard. But it's hard to explain. It's the color of it. But
is it more of like a truer mustard, like more not like a processed mustard, but like a I don't know how to explain it.
There's a lot of spices involved.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I think that's what turns people off. They just expect regular yellow mustard, and they're like,
okay.
It tastes like Sharpie.
What type of hot dogs do they serve in Cleveland? Nathan's?
No. Jeez, I can't even think of it. Sugardale.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you've heard of that.
I haven't, but
but it's
it's hot dogs. So.
Yeah. Especially the Cleveland Indians had $1 dog night.
Yeah,
that's a must-go night. Yeah.
I definitely feel like I could put back some hot dogs, which is interesting that you chose hot dogs as your number 1 because I also happen to pick hot dogs as my number 1. And when we said before we started the podcast, we were talking about our top 5s. You're like, oh, we'll end up probably agreeing on it, but we were kind of just joking. Well, we ended up did. So I chose hot dogs. I'm not a big I don't have to have toppings on my hot dog. That's the thing.
You just eat them straight.
What I love about the hot dog, and I was talking about this a little bit yesterday. What I love about a stadium hot dog is when they come up wrapped up in the tinfoil.
Yeah.
And the bun gets steamed a little bit, and it's a little bit softer, and it kind of forms to the hot dog a little bit more. I can just eat hot dogs just like that, and they're just so good to me. And off the grill, off the flat grill,
Yeah.
I just love it. I mean, sometimes I'll do ketchup, but that's about it. I'm not a big mustard or relish guy.
And to add one more thing to your argument. There's no bad bite in a hot dog.
No, it's all the same.
Yeah.
Every time you take a bite of a hot dog, you're getting...
It's the best bite.
You're getting what you're getting.
It's the best bite.
There's not especially a ballpark hot dog, which is, they're calculated, the buns fit with the dog.
But I'm glad we agreed, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I think we only agreed on those.
I mean, we had nachos, pretzels, and hot dogs, but they were just different.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy because when you think of stadium foods... I mean, there's not that many items.
There's not that many items you can pick from, but there's definitely, more people would say cheeseburger would be their favorite or something like that. So,
or maybe I don't know, peanuts would be some people's.
Sunflower seeds.
That's an omission from both of us.
That's a good one. That could have definitely. That's an honorable mention. I feel like
that's why we need Ethan here to argue with us all the time. Yeah, we've agreed a lot.
Probably would say pizza.
Yeah,
because
one bite, everyone knows the rules.
One bite, everybody knows the rules. But
Ethan, we miss you, buddy. Come home.
Please come home.
All right, we'll move into studs and duds.
Studs and duds.
Tucker, you can go first.
Okay. So my stud is a little bit different this week. I know you are a big fan of the NCAA football games. Obviously, they're not a...
You would beat me down every time we were roommates in freshman year.
Obviously, it's not a series anymore. It's gotten discontinued since the NCAA had all their issues with recent players and stuff and whatnot. But who is the hero here, and it is my stud, is Jared Bullard. And now, who is Jared Bullard, you ask?
I don't know.
He is the single-handed person that every year consistently will update the rosters for you to update every year. So
he's a hero.
He's a hero. So you can go and not step on, but you can turn on, if you have your old Xbox 360 or PS3, you got internet connection to it. You can hop on your NCAA Football 14, and the good man, Jonathan Bullard, will have the updated roster for this year.
You say Jonathan?
Or did I say Jonathan? That's a Gator guy. You know that, right?
Who is it?
He's a defensive tackle that played for the Gators. Now he plays for the Bears. Sorry. Jared Bullard.
Gator facts.
Jared Bullard, I'm sorry. He has a quote for updating these rosters. He says, "It's a labor of love. I love the game and I love college football." That's all I needed to hear.
Football guy.
That's all I need to hear, man. It's a labor of love. He takes it and...
He's doing God's work.
That's what I'm saying. You know what's crazy? It's already been 5 years. 5 years since the last game came out.
Denard Robinson was tearing it up.
Oh, man.
I never got that cover.
Yeah, me neither. Wasn't my favorite. There was definitely better players they could have chose that year.
So we talked. Okay, so in the interview we talked to Austin Scott. Like, I'm not an Ohio State guy. It kind of annoys me how much people talk about Ohio State. But I don't like Ohio State, but I despise Michigan for some reason. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, no, I just feel like
they're unlikable. They're like the New York Yankees a little bit.
Kind of.
They brag about championships.
They're kind of the villains of college football. I mean, you could say Miami is, but Miami's kind of irrelevant to me now. But
irrelevant?
Well, not irrelevant. I've never liked Miami.
Okay.
So, I mean, but
you were lucky growing up.
That's a Florida guy.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I just think with Michigan, there's no qualities about them that be like, oh, they're great guys.
And they haven't done anything in recent years that make you say, wow, go Michigan, go Big Blue.
They just keep bragging about stuff from like the 1920s.
Exactly. Who cares?
Like, we don't care.
Like,
Oh, you did what in the 1800s?
Oh, congrats. Go Michigan.
Go Blue.
The big house. So, yeah. So, how do you want to do it? Your stud or my? Or we're doing my dud too.
We'll go with my stud.
Go hit your stud up.
My stud is Hard Knocks season.
Okay,
it's coming up.
I'm excited.
3 weeks away, August 7th.
Should be a good one this year, I think, with the Browns.
For sure.
I'm excited to see.
People are going to think I'm so biased on this podcast. I swear to God, I'm not.
But I agree with you.
Yeah,
like I'm with you on this one. So like I think the Cleveland Browns this year is the best choice.
I mean, there's so many storylines to pick from.
Think how interesting that's going to be. Just obviously Baker Mayfield in the Tyrod Taylor race. I think Tyrod Taylor should be the starter, but they're definitely going to make it seem like it's
closer
race.
than everybody thinks.
Yeah, Jarvis Landry, Josh Gordon.
Yeah.
So it's definitely going to be interesting. Their defense is getting better. And
honestly, I was thinking about this today when I was watching Randy Moss highlights. This Browns roster kind of reminds me of that Minnesota roster from back in the early 2000s with Randy Moss and Chris Carter.
Josh Gordon?
Yeah, because he's a troublemaker.
Has to be.
He's a troublemaker.
Yeah.
So was Randy Moss. They both run their mouth a little bit too. So
yeah.
Jarvis Landry's kind of like that established guy now, like Chris Carter.
Exactly.
And in no way am I saying that is Jarvis Landry and Josh Gordon like future Hall of Famers. Yeah, but I think the biggest on-field storyline is Hugh Jackson.
Yeah.
This is going to be his last season.
This is it. This has to be it.
It's make or break.
Yeah.
And just like make or break for him, it's make or break, I would say, for the Hard Knocks as a series.
Yeah.
Last year was not good with Tampa Bay.
It might have been one of the worst seasons, if not the worst, just because of how, I don't know, just kind of how it followed up and ended up being in Tampa. And they kind of made it seem like they kind of seemed like Tampa was like the place to be, and then it wasn't at all.
At all.
Like
they finished last.
They were not good. So.
And they tried to play up that Jameis Winston was some kind of hero sent
exactly
from above, when really, in retrospect, he turned out being like a scumbag.
And
like we all suspected.
Yeah, and not as good as we thought.
Yeah,
and the whole big thing with Jameis Winston and that Hard Knocks was got to take care of the ball, got to be better with the ball.
What did he do?
Threw more picks, fumbled the ball more. So
and it's not just that season; it's a string of seasons. I would say the next best one that they've had so far,
Jets. I was just about to say the Jets because Rex Ryan, he's such a character. So
all right, you can go ahead with your dud.
So my dud is the New York Knicks fan base.
The whole fan base.
Whole entire fan base.
Throw them away.
All of them.
Ooh.
Every single person.
Okay.
More particularly their draft fan base. It's awful. They don't
show up one night a year.
They never know what they're talking about because now I will say this. that Knox isn't proven yet in real NBA games.
I don't know if you remember this, but we trashed him on the first podcast.
We did.
For episode 1.
And you go back and look at him in the summer league, and you can't help. He balled out. He played really well, and I thought he was stellar. And now all these Knicks fans are coming back from the dead and trying to bring him back up and stuff. And I remember draft night when they were booing and calling people else's names and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I just feel like they don't feel. I feel like they don't know what they're talking about anymore.
Anymore? I don't think they did to begin with, man.
Well, obviously the first one is Porzingis. I mean, they were like, "Who's Porzingis?" This and that, and turns out to be a stud.
Yeah,
so, I don't know.
You know what? The Knicks fan base might be the second worst fan base in New York. You know who's number 1?
The Brooklyn Nets? I don't know.
No. It's the New York Yankees.
Oh, for sure.
27 rings.
Yikes.
A-Rod.
Yikes.
That was my – I don't know what the yikes was about. Was it the Yankees or my impersonation of like a New York accent?
We'll go with the Yankees.
All right.
We'll say the Yankees.
So I'll go with my dud.
Okay.
I was watching the Home Run Derby Tuesday, like I said earlier about Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
And I was just listening in to Carl Ravitch on the call from ESPN with Mark Teixeira.
Uh-huh.
And Javi Baez stepped up to the commentary booth to watch his teammate Kyle Schwarber bat.
Mm-hmm.
And he had an exchange with Carl Ravitch where Schwarber hit a home run over 440 feet.
Yeah.
And Baez yells, "Ham!" And after several interrogation questions from Ravitch about what Baez just yelled.
Which was very awkward.
Yeah, it was awkward. I think Ravitch was trying to figure out if he was speaking Spanish.
Yeah, like give Baez some, give him some slack. I mean,
yeah,
dude can speak English, but it's not like
like
it's not like it's perfect or anything.
But he was speaking English.
Yeah.
And he said ham,
uh-huh.
like what you eat. And Ravitch honestly looked confused, and then he turned to Baez and said, "Oh, short for hammer." What?
Awful. And he basically what struck me about that whole situation is he basically forced Baez to say yes.
He just looked at him for a few seconds.
Because he didn't give Baez the chance, because Baez obviously it's no surprise he's not the greatest English speaker, so he can't sit there and express himself like others can. So,
I think he knew what I think Baez knew what he wanted to say.
Oh yeah, for sure. But on national television, kind of forced him to be oh yeah, hammer.
He was
exactly
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was just kind of cringy. Not a very good.
But Carl Ravitch, man, why? Why did you have to know that bad? It was awkward.
You could have just been oh, that's a cool insider. Next question.
Yeah, exactly. Instead, Carl
you excited
Ravitch.
for All-Star Weekend or week? This.
Oh, short for hammer.
Yeah. Jesus.
Hey, it reminds me of that Steve. What's his name? That actor. It was it's that meme. Not that meme. It's that GIF. That's oh, hello, fellow kids. With the skateboard. I can't think of it. That song came out in 2012, by the way.
Really?
From Kanye West and Jay-Z.
About to go ham.
Yeah, hard as a mother.
Yeah, exactly.
Bold predictions.
Yeah.
It's that part of the show.
Last part of the show. So we talked a little bit about Kawhi Leonard earlier.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about him right now, Chris?
Kawhi Leonard will play 0 games for the Toronto Raptors.
That's see, that's the thing. I can't really debate it because I can definitely see it, and it's it's just. I don't know.
If he was able to strong arm his way through the whole offseason from being dealt by the Spurs because of the terrible packages teams were sending back, then what makes you think he's not going to strong arm his way through Toronto and find his way back to a Western Conference team or something like that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think this happens. He doesn't want to be there.
They've
said he has zero interest of being in Canada.
Exactly, and that's very big reporters and have come out and said that. So bold prediction. Didn't really talk about the Open on the show today. That was for a good reason. We're gonna kind of overview it. It's kind of
British Open.
Yeah, the British Open.
Okay.
We haven't. I mean, there's definitely stuff to talk about, but there's no headlines. The tournament starts today or started today. There's not much to talk about.
Yeah.
So next week we'll definitely catch you up with everything that has to go with that.
Golf talk
with Tucker. Golf talk. But Tommy Fleetwood, English golfer, he's a stud. He's very good. I believe he's gonna remember the name. He's gonna win the Open, the British Open.
50% effort. 10%.
He's gonna win the British Open this year and become the champion golfer of the year. That's what the winner is called. If you're the Open. So like Jordan Spieth won it last year, and he was the champion golfer of the year until now.
I feel like it has to be called like a special title if you're British and win the British Open.
Well, the Open is the oldest tournament in golf. I was gonna say sports, but that's not true. In golf.
Well, that's the show.
That is the show. This was a good one.
Yeah,
I would definitely say, especially with Austin, and definitely had a lot of good stuff to talk about. Stadium foods and
just us two.
NCAA football and us two.
Dalton, please come back. We can't produce the show without you.
Tears.
Ethan, please call if you find Ethan. We're looking for him. Please give him a call. 1-855-FIND-ETHAN.
Please.
Yeah. Well, you can find me, Chris Anthony, on Twitter at C_Anthony says.
Tic Tac Tucker 15 on Twitter for me, and appreciate you guys listening this week and appreciate all the support that's going on. This past couple weeks have been a little rocky. We had a break that kind of derailed us, and last week we just had the guest, which was still great. But
Tom was a great guest.
Yeah, we're trying to, we're getting back on track this week. And
we were right in our stride, and they said, you guys have to go home for a week. And we were like, no, do we have to? And then we were like, yeah,
we are gonna.
We had to go home.
So, but, it's fine. We're back in the groove and ready for more episodes in the weeks to come.
And if you'd like to read, I have a sports blog.
Oh, yes.
Unbiased sports fan.
Shameless plug. Shameless plug in this.
Unbiased with one S, sportsfan.blogspot.com if you like to read, which I know many people don't.
It's very good. You guys definitely need to give it a read. I enjoyed reading it, and that's not just because I'm his partner or anything. I actually like reading it. So.
But we'll see you guys next week. See ya.
Yep, see you guys.